So, there are two major threads on the links I'll post below that attempts to discredit or debunk the heir to the Stars Cosmology. The poster in question goes on to use a very outdated measure of Floor 1 to debate against it. Then they use an even more outdated version of Floor 2. Neither are accurate in continuity, and they use this outdated version to debunk the cosmic structure of Heir to the Stars. Unlike the last video, I won't go through all of this, but I will provide not only both links to the thread, but both links to my cosmic hierarchy, so you can see that they simply use what they wanted to use to create a false interpretation of what has happened. My website and the wiki are both up to date in terms of this, at least. I know I just be kind of slow with updating stuff. The poster opens up by saying, alright, I'm going to do an Uber post right now to debunk Sargent's notion that Suggsverse somehow has an impressive cosmology of any sort. Even quoted the impressive part. So let us begin. So basically, the poster right now is going out of their way to list a very outdated cosmological structure and starts to list its specifications. Let me start by saying once they reach the end of infinity, they deem it as illogical, as it cannot be surpassed. And by that, they decided to completely disregard everything else because they didn't agree with the layer in question. It's easy to try to debunk something when you don't agree with it and don't apply it to where it should be after. The next one is the Omniverse, where again, they outright said that they would downplay it. And so they disregard it because they don't agree with it. After this, everything else they're completely thrown under the rug and lessen what it outright stated is. And once they reach the end of this, he says, Suggsverse Cosmology is stupid, with everything being able to be contained by the Omniverse if we take them seriously. Literally. However, somehow, higher realms are still bounded by higher infinities, cardinal set theory logic, and higher dimensions, layers of existence, when lower realms supposedly transcend them. So I'll say this. This poster completely misses the point. It's outright stating in the series that everything after the all, the one that's all capital, is basically a form of what those on a higher level creates an interpretation by. It's an expression. But they dismiss that. The poster completely dismisses that, even when it's basically there in plain sight. They choose to dismiss it. So you can't debunk something when you blatantly choose to ignore information and use outdated, discontinued information. So we're going to go down. They're expressing the second floor now. The problem here is that they're using regular physics into this realm, completely ignoring what was established by the realm. I know that they chose to read whatever they wanted to read because I can show you screenshots from people that have personally messaged me about the second floor and completely caught the idea of what I was trying to do. That's because these posters here that's because they wanted to understand it, and they saw what was written. This poster chooses to ignore what was written, and because they didn't agree with what they read, they created a wall and chose to purposefully downplay it. So they didn't debunk anything. Another poster, ZGT Freak, creates the problem that because they will choose to see certain things as concepts no matter what is written. Basically, that's what I'm reading from this. It's outright, because it's like written. You'd have to read it. It's an outright metaphysical concept that they will not choose to see above it no matter what's written. So basically what I'm saying is, any type of thing, if they're looking at it and they only see it as a metaphysical concept, they're not going to look past it. They're not going to look that it's something beyond it or anything like that. They have created an entire ceiling and decided that's how they're going to debate and that's what they're going to look at, despite what's written being above it. He states, so beyond all conceptualizations is mere author wank that he debunks in his very next layer. Hell, the fact that beyond all conceptualizations is even a layer means that it falls under the concept of layers, hierarchy, size, and scope. So, they are admitting to only see it the way that they want to see it and completely disregard how it's written. Despite what they want to believe, these realms are not bounded to mere physics and actualities and higher dimensions. The first floor does transcend them. It's not that somehow they contain everything and yet there are things beyond them. What's beyond them are not classified within all, the all, and the all. Pay attention. They said that they saw three realms that have the exact same definition as the Omniverse. I want you all to read that list and show me where. Even in the outdated list, it's not there. So again, they're only reading what they want to read. We get to the fourth floor. By the time we get to the fourth floor, they're basically discrediting anything by saying pataphysics isn't legit, despite the fact that my website, Wiki, Facebook all have I have a very thorough definition of it. So they attempt to go through mechanics of this floor. And already they disregard what was already established and state that the realms before this already transcended plot hacks and the like. In their opinion, I can't really decide on how I want my verse to be. The problem with this is that I am clearly using always a bigger fish in this situation. People like to say that the story resembles something that an 8-year-old or a 12-year-old would do. And yet these grown adults cannot get what is going on. I have been very consistent with everything I've done and absolutely very deliberate about it. I think it's a problem that an 8-year-old or a 12-year-old is smarter and sharper than the people trying to debunk my cosmic hierarchy. But they created a list of the mathematics to debunk each one. I said mathematics. They create a list of the mechanics to debunk each one, which I will now debunk each one that they tried to do. The first one is meta absolute truth. They say it's a poor attempt to sound smart and it holds no weight. In Heir to the Stars, it holds a lot of weight, as I've expressed who truth is and what is beyond truth. Now I'm showing another layer beyond that. It holds more weight in this verse than you think. Not a debunk. The second one, meta omnipotence, meta omniscience, and meta omnipresence. Here's the beyond omnipotence BS that got Suggsverse its name. Not much debunking on this. Most have been done by Cool Guy 18 and Deganox, respectively. Hey, just because you don't agree with the concepts doesn't mean that it's BS. This isn't debunked. It's as accurate in Heir to the Stars as it's always been. Number 3. I don't understand how being aware of your story equals being beyond pataphysics or whatever BS is being said here. I guess Deadpool and the Teen Titans shares this since they have all fourth awareness. It doesn't simply equal being beyond pataphysics. If you would have actually read the first 4 cosmology and pataphysics, you'd get what it means. You're just choosing to ignore what's been established. Still, there's no debunk here. You haven't debunked anything. Number 4, so suddenly things only exist due to belief? Interesting. I guess I'll just tell everyone to stop believing in Suggsverse and hopefully it'll disappear. You can try, but these characters are on the 4th floor, so I doubt it'll work if you'll do it. There's no debunk here, again. So they control change. That's number 5. Something which is, wait for it, conceptual. But I thought realms below already transcended all conceptualization. Again, shows how inept Suggs is even when trying to make a strong verse. Bet I could do better. Wink. You can go for it. Make it better. Make a better verse. But you missed the point of where I was going with this. Where are the 8 and 12-year-olds that could do this so they can explain this to you? This is clearly on the realm in which omnipotence stand on. Number 6. Okay. Well, first it's like question marks. Okay, so basically all hacks listed is irrelevant because everyone at this level is immune to it. Talk about wasting time. Not that the actual hacks really made sense, to be honest. I see no debunk here, once again. Number 7, pattern meta concept. I wonder what that means. Never heard anyone say or write that before. Okay, that doesn't mean that it wasn't expressed in Heir to the Stars. I've seen many meanings in anime and manga that we've never seen before, and guess what? They have a meaning, and we go by that. There's no debunk here. Number 8. Hey, I thought they were above ideas before this. Seems not. I guess I can't trust Suggs, and it seems he got idealism wrong, implying concepts are bound to minds by explaining they transcended via being above some meta, whatever it is, mind. Guess Suggsverse concepts really are just realist fathers. They are above the first 3 floors. Once again, you interpret how you want to interpret and dismiss what's already written. You're not debunking anything. You're just ignoring information. 0. Greater than meta transcendent encompasses going beyond, greater than beyond transcendent individuality and the absolute perfection of self. They say, pretty sure they are still bounded by the philosophical idea of self, seeing how they have personality. Well, not really, but you get my point, and individuality. Somehow they are beyond individuality, but are the perfection of self. You didn't debunk anything. I mean, but hey, thanks for trying to understand this one at least, but you haven't debunked anything. Like, I'll reply to this summary that I'm reading by stating that you choose not to trust me. I describe powers, concepts, cosmology the way I want, and it's deliberate, but nothing contradicts anything else unless you want it to, or unless you want to dismiss information or put a caps on what something is or could be. I outlined everything, and I can decide whether anything is truly beyond what they are said to be beyond. I've done it. You just choose not to accept it. I see no issues of insecurity and undecidability on my end, but because you want to say that I am, I'm wondering why you want to attack my character rather than keep it on my story. You don't have to get so bent out of shape by my work. You can freely come at me personally. Let's keep it about the books here. So when we dive into the next layers, they're basically just simply saying that they think Lionel went insane here, and then goes on to discredit my cosmology as a whole, despite what is written. And even in their summary, simply says I went insane. They're not debunking anything. No real analysis of the layer, just a personal opinion of me. So I will answer the next 3 layers in one, as this poster isn't saying much. But the only reason I didn't go into details of these layers is because they were going to be in Heir's ending, which isn't released yet. You started going after me personally, but didn't ask why I didn't put the descriptions in there. It's funny, because I do know some 8 to 12-year-olds that could have asked that simple question of just simply, why didn't you do it? Instead of just going to attack me. So, in conclusion, this poster feels like I didn't go beyond 3D space, despite so much evidence that proves otherwise. The fact that they outright admit to downplaying what is written and ignoring and disagreeing with certain things so they hold no weight to them is another issue. They say that I do not show uncountably infinitely. How are they writing this? Oh, they say that I do not show uncountably infinitely above tiers, which Suggsverse has shown, but they outright said it was impossible for me to show it, and they dismissed it. But I am the one that can't be trusted. So they're dismissing all of this, but I'm the one that can't be trusted. And I have it all written. I have all the links right here so y'all can see it. Then they go on to explain how my characters are not logically consistent and readable. Despite the fact that everything is very logical, everything is consistent in their context and very readable. If it wasn't readable, how'd you make a whole thread to try to debunk it? Even the last sentence here shows that they limit my cosmology specifically to math and cardinality, whereas this outright is surpassed. I didn't see an argument here to debunk my cosmology. Did any of you? It was interesting going through these 2 threads to see the work they attempted to do to discredit my work. But this is what I'm doing. This is a real debunk to the illusionary debunk that they claimed that they were doing. If the poster wants to try again, they're absolutely welcome to come at me again. If you want to do it on here, message me personally or go at it on the forums and let me know. You're welcome to doing so. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Be on the lookout for my next video, which will annihilate another failed debunking of my work. All the links are in the comment box below. You're welcome.